It's your brother Nubreed coming back with another live stream. Y'all do not want to miss this one. We got breaking news. Everybody gather around, gather around. Man, listen. Trump's name was just mentioned in some private emails from Epstein. And what was said definitely sounds like Trump is implicated. Anybody who has any common sense or logic can see that the elite secrets are slipping out and the walls got to be closing in on Trump right now. He's going to have to respond to this. Trump is going to have to respond to what was just found. He's going to have to. There's going to have to be some level of damage control. I know our current U.S. president is on the phone right now making calls. It's not looking good. It's looking rather grim for leadership in this country right now. Oh, man, I could not wait to do this live stream. I'm telling you, I could not wait to cover this. Listen, I'm going to go right to the news. Look, let's just go to the news. I'm going to chime in. Listen, let's go to Jasmine Crockett to start off. I just want y'all to hear what's going on. Yeah, the jig is up, Queen Co.
Thanks so much for joining us. What stands out to you from these emails that were publicly released by the committee today?
Yeah, so number one, it is clear that he knew what was going on, which I think that he's kind of alluded to that at some point in time because the president said that he was trying to kick Ghislaine out of Mar-a-Lago because it seems like that's where girls were being recruited from based on information that we have. But more importantly is that he was having conversation, he being Jeffrey Epstein, with Michael Wolff, who is writing this book or trying to put together this book. And in real time, as Trump is running for his first presidential run, we hear or we see that he made it clear that he believes that he has leverage over Trump. And he said that a Trump regime would basically open up, this is me paraphrasing, this is not exactly what he said, but basically it'd be a free-for-all. And as we've seen, especially in this second term, it's been a free-for-all where Trump has absolutely pardoned some folk that we know are terrible, and we are waiting on him to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yep, and he's about to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. That's a fact. Now, Jasmine Crockett is on point. And when we get to the messages that that Epstein sent to this author, it's going to be clear as day that Epstein has something over Trump's head. He was definitely holding something over Trump's head, and he was using that to his advantage. Let's go.
I think that that's coming.
Let's take a closer look at that email from Epstein where he writes to the author Michael Wolff saying this, and it's a direct quote, redacted victim, the name was redacted. Mar-a-Lago, Trump said he asked me to resign, never a member ever. Of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. Obviously, we don't have the full context here, but I'm curious, how do you read this specific email and what it means?
Yeah, I think that it is showing that he was well aware and he was trying to cover his tracks at that point in time.
Yeah, that one lady that went missing, the one who offed herself a couple years back. Trump said that that Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein basically stole her in those words. In those exact words, he said, they stole her from the Mar-a-Lago ranch. So there should be no question at this point that Trump knew something was going on, right? But let's go. It gets deeper.
And I think that that's what you saw from Jeffrey. Obviously, it'd be better if we could talk to Jeffrey today, but it was very interesting that ultimately Jeffrey Epstein died sitting in prison during Trump's administration.
Yeah, because Epstein was a threat. And he was not only a threat, but he was actually blackmailing, blackmailing Trump, allegedly. Allegedly.
We had Representative Marlon Stutzman earlier. He's a Republican, and he tried to make the case that President Trump is the most investigated person in the world, and he has not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing here. What do you make of that?
Listen, they will do and say anything to cover themselves. I will admit that Donald Trump has been investigated more than the normal, but he just happens to be more corrupt and more criminal than any other president than we've had. I will point out he is the only president who has been convicted of 34 felony convictions that we've ever had in the Oval Office. So while we don't know exactly what crimes he may or may not have committed, just think of it this way. If you know that you didn't do anything, then why is it that you will be twisting members of your own party's arms, trying to get them not to release it? This would be exonerating. If you know that you are free and clear, then why not say, you know what, release the files? In fact, he campaigned on releasing the files because he didn't realize that anything that he was involved in whatsoever was involved in the files. But let me tell you something. Another thing that was said in that other email that he had with Michael Wolff was he was talking about if he wants to basically play hardball, we will make mention of the fact that he really has been on the plane. And I don't remember if it mentioned the island.
Let's actually put that email up just so our viewers can fully understand what it says.
Let's read that.
I just hope the control room can put this email up. It says, I think you should let him hang himself. And this is in response to a question of whether CNN would plan to ask Trump in a town hall about the relationship with Epstein. Epstein said, how do we craft an answer for him? And Michael Wolff says in this email, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. Of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime.
Wow, wow, wow. So according to Epstein, Trump has been on a plane. He's been to the island, been to the House. He knows what's going on, but we're going to use this to our advantage in case he does win. But see, Epstein was playing a dangerous game because he ended up getting got right there in the jailhouse playing that dangerous game. Listen, I'm going to say this. Trump is gangster now. You know what I'm saying? Look, you dealing with the mob when you dealing with these folks. Allegedly. But I mean, it should be very apparent what's going on right here. Like you just got, oh man, it's just so evident. I mean, what y'all think? MAGA, what y'all think? I know y'all watching. What y'all think? Let's go.
Yes. That is clear that Jeffrey Epstein had something to hang over his head. Why else or how else could you have a debt that you are able to? Now, exactly what it was, who knows, right? And that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of. But the fact that Trump does not want these files to be out, to me, says that he has more to hide than him actually being able to exonerate himself.
And that's a fact. If he don't have nothing to hide, he would let these files go out, you know? But it don't look like he want that info put out there for obvious reasons. Let's go.
The other email talking about that we used initially, I'm just trying to find that email so I can be really precise here, but he talks about how Epstein is emailing Maxwell saying that Trump was with a victim at his house for several hours. This is an email from April 2nd, 2011. Republicans were saying that that victim is Virginia Giuffre. As you know, she died by suicide. She's been a very outspoken victim of Jeffrey Epstein. Here's the email right here on your screen. She wrote a book, as you know, and she did not accuse him of any wrongdoing. What do you make of that, and can you confirm that?
Well, we don't know who the victim was because the comments were redacted. So, you know, they're kind of speculating right now. Hopefully Jasmine's on point with this, but yeah, you don't know who the victim was.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's redacted who the victim.
Yeah. Don't look, man. Don't try to trick the FBA sister up now. Like, let's not play these games. Let's not try to, you know, manipulate the situation. You know, don't get her slandering. You know what I'm saying? Don't get the sister lying and making up stuff because she's on point. She's going right down the middle of the information presented and giving her thorough hypothesis using astute observation. Let's go.
Victim is, so I won't necessarily take the Republicans' word on who it is that's redacted. And I don't know why they would necessarily redact someone's name who is deceased at this point.
The Democrats did that, though. The Democrats redacted.
No. I understand.
You see, the Democrats redacted it. She don't know who. See, she didn't even know who redacted it. Why? Look. I'm not acknowledging no redacted statements. Let's stick to what's clear. The email came directly from Epstein to the author Wolff, and he's basically saying, "Look, we had something on Trump. Let's go."
But I'm just saying, like, our biggest concern is to actually make sure that we are protecting victims. And obviously, she wrote a book. She told her truth. Whether or not she told everything, who knows? Again, another person that we can't talk to because we have yet another suicide around this. So I think that that's actually one of the things that we should talk about is that the president has tried to call this all a hoax. I don't think you have this many people dying around a hoax.
Exactly. MAGA, where you at, MAGA? I thought it was a hoax. If it's a hoax, why is all these people dropping dead like flies? Why is all these self-deletions taking off? Soon as the mention of a grand jury, people start popping up gone. If it's a hoax, why is Epstein himself mentioning Trump being at the locations? Saying that, look, we can use this to our advantage. Now, it could be, listen, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna go right down the middle. It could be that Epstein was bribing Trump, and you know Trump didn't do anything criminal. He just was very close to the island. Could be that he was just, you know, he just hung out with him, and you know, people get snatched off his Mar-a-Lago ranch, and you know he ain't know nothing about it, and it could be that, right? Right? Yeah. It could be that. He just like hanging with Epstein. Or it could be that Epstein really has something on Trump. Plausible, right? Let's go.
I don't think you have somebody trying to hide files around a hoax. We know that there's something there. We know that his own attorney general had to admit that he is in the files, but they are trying to hide stuff. The only reason that we have these emails is because we were able to get them from the estate. Not because the Department of Justice was releasing information, not because Kash Patel was releasing information, even though they've had subpoenas from the Oversight Committee for some time. Kash Patel continues to hold back information. So I thank God that there is somebody that still respects the law and still respects subpoenas in this country, but it's not the people that are empowered to do it, the people that actually conducted the investigation. Imagine what we may discover if we got the investigatory information versus getting something from an estate.
Well, but we should also note that the head of the Oversight Committee is a Republican. It's Republican. The chairman is James Comer. And he is the one who is issuing.
You know, this foundational Black American intelligence is just next level. I mean, I just want to shout out the sisters, man. They've been stepping up lately. You had that judge, the federal judge, she stepped up. and force Trump to run them stamps back. You know what I'm saying? And sisters, listen, when the sisters ready to mobilize, that FBA intelligence is next level. Like, listen, these are just, look, these sisters, you just don't want to mess with them the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? They gonna come at your neck with facts, though. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Yep. I mean, look, Shorty is big stepping, though. I'm not even gonna hold you. I like Jasmine Crockett, bro. She's sharp, for real.
Well, let's be clear about this. Okay. This is not something that he wanted to do. This was a subcommittee, remember? It has been the Speaker of the House who has consistently tried to avoid this by shutting down the House. So what the Speaker did is he sent us out on an early recess. But before we left, it was a subcommittee of the Oversight Committee that actually did the motion for the subpoenas, and the Democrats kept pushing, and some Republicans actually joined with the Democrats. This was not led by James Comer.
Like Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't know if she's on that subcommittee.
You know, I see MAGA in here, and they cannot really argue with nothing. They just name calling, hurling insults. They don't even know how to argue what has been discovered. They don't know how to argue what has been discovered. Now, it's very much possible that Epstein was just using Trump's presence, being around those locations, as bribery or blackmail. At least y'all can use that as a fight. But let's not act like all the evidence doesn't point to somebody who was in the inside, someone who knew, and someone who viewed Epstein as a threat. The man did die under Trump's administration.
But Nancy Mace is on that subcommittee for sure. She's actually the chair of that subcommittee.
And Trump is talking about freeing Ghislaine Maxwell, who was clearly snatching up children. I mean, come on now. MAGA, y'all just taking a lot of L's, a lot of L's.
This subcommittee, the ranking member is Summer Lee. So it was that subcommittee. So this was actually the tail wagging the dog. I just want to be clear about that. And ultimately, the chairman had a vote that was bipartisan, that was the majority, and he had to do it. But whether or not they have been like slow rolling this, there is no question about the fact that they have.
And you have had Marjorie Taylor Greene, Billy Thomas Massey. It's been some Republicans who want the full floor vote on this.
Yeah, we've got 4.
Damn.
4 out of the 219 Republicans, yes, in the House. The rest of them seem to be okay with being complicit with protecting pedophiles.
Wow. Only 4 out of the House on the Republican side decided to step up and, get the ball rolling as far as the Epstein files go. Only 4 out of 200. That is insane. That's insane. Now, I'm going to make this very clear. I know that this Jasmine Crockett is a Democrat. Y'all know how I go, right down the middle. I truly believe that there is Democrats as well on those files. There's no doubt about that. I believe that Hillary Clinton, I believe she's on there. This is just my thoughts, based on the things I've seen. I believe Joe Biden is on there. Creepy ass Joe was sniffing and smelling and groping everybody. I mean, I would find it far-fetched that Joe Biden wasn't on the damn list. And so just so that I'm clear, it's not about right or left for me. It's about right or wrong. You understand? It's about right or wrong. Yeah, so let me be very clear about that. I know MAGA is in here. They're having conniptions. They believe that this is just some leftist channel. No, I've made this very clear, and I'm going to say this once again. I'm anti-establishment. Reason being is because none of them have a comprehensive plan for Black America. None of them are offering Black Americans any tangibles. And for that reason, I'm just a political menace. I go in on all of it. I don't care. Certain people I like in the political arena, like Jasmine Crockett. I like her. It's a few people I like on the right side. Not many. And every now and then there's a pundit or someone that I say, okay, they're making some sense. But anyway, let's go.
It's interesting. A CNN poll from last July showed that 50% of Americans were feeling dissatisfied about the amount of information released on the Epstein case. Did that have any influence at all on your decision to make these emails public today?
No, I mean, ultimately what's happened is, obviously, again, we've not been getting anything from the DOJ. Instead, it's been the estate of Epstein. And so as they've been turning things over, it takes staff time to review those documents and things like that to make sure that we've got something, number one, of value to the public. There's still additional information. I want to be clear. We got way more than 3 emails.
They got way more than 3 emails, y'all. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Trump right now is making some phone calls. The walls are closing in. He's getting those little purple bruises back on his feet. You know, old swollen ankle McGee. Oh, yeah. His hands are bloated. His hands are getting more bloated again. Yeah, I'm telling you. They're going to have to get him. Listen, they're going to have to get Trump that IV tonight. You know, they're going to have to pump him full of adrenochrome. They're going to have to pump him full of that adrenochrome, old swollen ankles McGee.
But in their cursory review, they were able to say, okay, here are 3 emails that we think are of value. We do anticipate that there will be more that they will find that will be of value. They will go through the redaction process. They will also consult with the Republicans before we release anything. So it takes a little bit of a process. But I will say again that the estate seemingly has been more participatory than our own Department of Justice, who we actually oversee.
So where do you think all of this is heading?
Good question. I don't know, but hopefully it will start with the swearing in of Adelita Grijalva, as they have been avoiding that. Again, the House was shut down over that. I'm sure that the president has been making calls trying to get one of the 4 Republicans that did sign on to the discharge petition. I'm sure he is begging and threatening to get them to pull their names off of there.
Yep, that's what's happening right now. She on point. She like, look, he in there making phone calls right now. Trying to make sure that all the redacted names are completely removed and that nobody's going to step up. Yeah, that's what's happening right now as we speak. I'm telling you.
We know that they don't want to vote. We know that they called us in just for one day to work after we've been out since September. Again, we could be doing additional work. Even if this continuing resolution passes, we should be passing our appropriations bills. That's all the continuing resolution is for, is it is in the meantime.
Snaps.
But instead, it seems like they want to continue to be evasive so that they can slow walk this subpoena actually coming down.
Oh, man, the subpoenas are coming, man. And, yo, it should be evident what's going on right now. Oh, there's a lot of breaking news happening at the moment because of these emails. And I want to get more into what was actually said in these private emails so I can give my thoughts on what it means, right? Word for word.
And this was about 3 years after Jeffrey Epstein.
We do have breaking news in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, minutes ago, literally, releasing emails that they say were written by Jeffrey Epstein that explicitly, specifically mentioned Donald Trump by name and in context that we really haven't heard before. Let's get right to Caitlin Collins, who's got this reporting. Caitlin, what are you learning?
Yeah, John, these are emails that show Jeffrey Epstein mentioning Donald Trump by name multiple times in private correspondence that he had with people, including Ghislaine Maxwell, obviously his longtime associate and accomplice.
So he was talking directly to Ghislaine Maxwell when I believe it was the comment when he said that Trump is the dog that's not barking. Basically telling Ghislaine Maxwell we got him in a trick bag. Like he bet not say nothing. Cause we already got his number. At least that's what I believe it said. I mean, see, when you got when you understand the lingo, how the streets work, you know, it's these people, they're not gonna be as sharp as Jasmine. So they don't know what the hell going on, but our people know exactly what's happening. It's a damn shakedown. But anyway, let's continue.
And also the author, Michael Wolff, in a time span of about the last 15 years or so in these emails. Now, these are coming out from the House Oversight Committee. They had issued a bipartisan subpoena to Jeffrey Epstein's estate, John, as you know, earlier this year. And so they've gotten their hands on a trove of documents. And these are emails that included Jeffrey Epstein on them. They were sent either to him or from him that mentioned Donald Trump before he was in office and also while he was in office during his first term. And I want to walk you through these emails of what exactly we are reading. And Jeffrey,
look, Trump was thick as thieves with these damn kitty predators. Trump was thick as thieves with these damn kitty predators. Let's go.
Epstein's own words in these emails that have been released by the House Oversight Committee. And in one of them, Jeffrey Epstein says, and I should note, Trump did not send or receive any of these messages. He's not a party to these emails, John, but these are emails from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell. This is one from April 2nd, 2011. And in this email, Jeffrey Epstein writes to Ghislaine Maxwell and says, quote, I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. There's a name that's redacted, which the House Oversight Committee has said is a victim of Jeffrey Epstein's. Obviously,
oh, this is getting crazy. Hold on. Let me, man, yo, I'm hoping it's going to be justice for these victims soon because, okay, so now it's starting to make some sense. So this is going to Ghislaine Maxwell, whom Trump is on the cusp of pardoning. You know, he already sent her to like a cushy little summer camp type of jail. He got her out of hard time. And, you know, this woman was the mastermind of getting a lot of these little girls. But it says, I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. A victim. So it is a victim. There is one of these ladies or young or girls. We don't know. We don't know if it was one of the women or one of the girls. We don't know. We just know it was a victim, right? Spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. Wow. Man, listen now.
Independently confirm that because her name is redacted from this email. But they say redacted, spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. Ghislaine Maxwell responds to that email, John, and says, quote, I have been thinking about that. Now, there's no context.
She says she had been thinking about that. Like, basically, yeah, could that be our way out? You know, while he's in office, could we stay out of trouble? That's basically like, this email is basically like, yo, you know, he was right there with us. We good. No need to worry. And if he gets out of line, we already got that demo on him. Victim, Mar-a-Lago. Trump said see, they redacted a whole line right here. Trump said he asked me to resign. Never a member, ever. Of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. Wow. And this is to that author, Michael Wolff. He said, asked me to not be a member, to resign. He's like, I was never a member. Of course he knew about the girls. He asked Ghislaine to stop. So Trump was like, listen, you're going to have to stop taking these little girls. I'm running for president. This is allegedly. You're going to have to calm down with that. The heat is on. I'm on the cusp of being in the White House. You can't just snatch girls off my Mar-a-Lago ranch. Bruh. If this isn't a clear indicator that this man knew something and was corrupted, I don't know. But, we really can't take Epstein's word for anything. You know what I'm saying? Epstein was a monster. But I'm just saying this looks rather damnable. And Trump is going to have to say something about this. He's going to have to say something. I'm just waiting for Trump's statements because he's going to have to make a statement. If he says nothing, it looks really bad. If he doesn't say anything, it looks really bad. So he's going to say something. There's going to be an official White House statement probably tonight. If not tomorrow. Let's go.
For that message in this release of what we're getting. Obviously, this was a time span, and this was about 3 years after Jeffrey Epstein had accepted what is now known as that sweetheart deal that only got him a few months in prison, and something that came under a ton of scrutiny during Donald Trump's first term in office because of his then Labor Secretary, Alex Acosta, who helped negotiate that plea deal, that sweetheart deal, for Jeffrey Epstein at the time. And so that's the context of this came about 3 years after he had negotiated that plea deal, John. And there's also other emails that have been released by the committee this morning, including between Jeffrey Epstein and Michael Wolff. People will remember Michael Wolff, of course, the author who wrote a book on the inner workings of Trump's West Wing back in 2018 during his first term. He is someone who has talked at length about his own correspondence with Jeffrey Epstein, published audio recordings of those conversations between the two of them. And in another email, and this seems to be a reference to Donald Trump saying that he kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago club. And Jeffrey Epstein writes to Michael Wolff and says, quote, Trump said he asked me to resign. And he adds, John, never a member ever. Of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop.
So here you have it. Epstein says Trump knew about the girls. Matter of fact, he asked Ghislaine to stop doing it. Hey, you got to stop snatching the girls up. Please. I know I want to invite you to my home, but you have got to stop taking my massage girls. I'll come to your home. I'll come to your island. We'll have fun there. But you cannot come over here with that ish. That's what's being said right now, man. Allegedly. I'm going to need you guys to stop snatching girls off the Mar-a-Lago ranch. We'll keep that on the island. We'll keep that on the plane. That's what's happening, bro. Anybody with some common sense can see this. It's obvious what's happening. You don't need no files released. You can see his part in all of this.
Now, again, we don't have the context of this
allegedly
email, but John, that comes.
Damn, I got to keep saying allegedly.
As in recent months, we've heard President Trump himself and the White House say that Jeffrey Epstein was kicked out of Mar-a-Lago for being a creep. And Trump himself told reporters on Air Force One that he was trying to poach women, he and Ghislaine Maxwell, from the Mar-a-Lago spa. And that was why they had such a falling out and why he ultimately asked Jeffrey Epstein to leave the Mar-a-Lago club. Now, there's also a third email in here, John, and this is, again, in regards to Jeffrey Epstein and Michael Wolff. And Michael Wolff emails Jeffrey Epstein, and this is back in December 15th, 2015. So the height of the 2016 campaign, just to put that in perspective for you. And it was the day of a CNN Republican primary debate. And Michael Wolff says, quote, I hear that CNN is planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in a scrum afterwards. And Epstein wrote, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? Michael Wolff responded at length, John. I'll summarize it. But he said, in regards to Trump, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency.
Oh, snap. Who is this message going to? It says, from Michael Wolff. Okay, so Michael Wolff, the author, sent this to Jeffrey Epstein. All right, so the author sent this to Epstein. I'm going to let them read this, and then I'm going to reevaluate it.
A valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him generating a debt. Now, I'll note, John, we looked at the transcript of that CNN debate from December 2015. There's no mention.
I would like to know where this Wolf dude is at now. I wouldn't be surprised if he's pushing up daisies. Because he was trying to let Epstein know, look, you can use this to your advantage. It says, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. That's blackmail. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, meaning the election, I'm guessing, you could save him, generating a debt. Of course, if it is possible that when asked, he'll say, Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in the Trump regime. So yeah, they were definitely on some, they was definitely on some moves, like, you know, on some, look, he can't lie and say he wasn't at the spot. He can't lie and say he wasn't at your house. You know, they was on some real conniving stuff, low key. But this is what Wolff said to Epstein. Let's go.
CNN debate from December 2015. There's no mention of Jeffrey Epstein in there. And of course, as I mentioned, Donald Trump himself is not a party to these emails. But what this shows is Jeffrey Epstein mentioning Donald Trump by name multiple times at a moment here in Washington when their relationship has come under incredibly intense scrutiny, John.
Caitlin, as you mentioned multiple times, we just don't have the context surrounding these emails.
Oh, man. See, y'all don't understand nothing. Jasmine Crockett, she broke down the context just fine. I broke it down, too. You know what I mean? See, y'all walking on eggshells. You know, of course, we saying allegedly because we don't know. But damn it, we got a real scope on what's going on.
But that first email you read, the language absolutely jumps out to me. This is April 2nd, 2011. Epstein writes to Ghislaine Maxwell, I want you to realize the dog that hasn't barked is Trump, blank. And blank here is one of the alleged victims of Jeffrey Epstein. A victim spent hours at my house with him being Trump. He has never once been mentioned. Now, again, we don't.
Damn. So one of the victims, which, wow. One of the victims, Epstein implicated Trump.
Don't have the context surrounding that, Caitlin, but this kind of language from Jeffrey Epstein himself, how often has Donald Trump, what has Donald Trump said about contact he may have had or time he may have allegedly spent with some of Epstein's alleged victims?
Yeah, and John, just to be clear, the woman, the person whose name is redacted here was redacted by the House Oversight Committee before they put this out. That has been a huge point of focus.
They might have redacted the name because she's still living. That's probably why the name was redacted. Now that I think about it, the House Oversight Committee was probably like, look, there's people dying. And so that leads me to believe that whoever the victim is still alive. That victim is probably still alive, y'all. I'm telling you.
As people have demanded the release of these documents is to be able to protect the survivors and the victims. We have not been able to independently verify who this person is. The committee is the one doing the redacting here. But obviously he is referencing someone who Jeffrey Epstein says in this email from 2011 that spent time with Donald Trump at his house. And so we've asked the White House for comment on this morning. Obviously, these are emails that predate his time in office this term. They span about 15 years, this correspondence that's being released. And Trump has denied that he knew anything about what Jeffrey Epstein was doing and the sex trafficking of young.
Okay, look, let's take a vote on this. First of all, before we vote, everybody double tap the screen to get the likes up. Look, let's just take a vote on this. How many of you all at this point think that Trump had no idea that Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein was transporting, we'll use that word, these young ones? How many of you all really believe that he didn't know anything? By show of twos, you believe he didn't know. He didn't know. By show of ones, it's evident that Trump is corrupted. I'm just trying to see how many people in here who MAGA, how many people who could just see. Okay, so the mass majority can see. There is some dirty MAGA sprinkled in here. So what I'm noticing is dirty MAGA is more aggressive in the comment section. So we got to keep up the energy, y'all. When I'm doing these streams, we got to keep up the energy, because all I'm seeing is dirty MAGA fighting for their Lord and Savior, Donald Trump. But then when I ask this question, I see that most of y'all in here see that this Trump guy he's out of pocket, which is good to know. It's good to know. Yeah, you got to be careful for anybody trying to protect this type of behavior. You got to be careful with anybody trying to hide this. Any commentators out there that's talking, trying to hide what's going on and don't want the questions answered and don't want to really evaluate what's happening, you know, you got to look out for them type of people. 9 times out of 10, they like this type of activity.
Women. And he said that he wasn't aware of that at the time. And obviously, Trump himself has not been accused of any wrongdoing. It's very important that we make that clear here, John. But of course, the question has been when it comes to regards to the Justice Department and what they've released about what they know. And Adelita Grijalva is being sworn in today. She's the new House Democrat from Arizona, and she's expected to be that 218th signature. And so the pressure has been building on not just Democrats, but Republicans here in Washington to release more information about what the Justice Department has. And so looking at that email, obviously, will likely only increase that pressure.
Yeah, this is one YouTube on here that defend R. Kelly. Anybody who do some nasty stuff with children, this man is defending them. This guy on here that just rocks a MAGA hat, just defend everything satanic. I'm telling you. But you got to be careful for people like that. Let's go.
To do so. And you're right, John, we don't know the context of that. But obviously you can read Jeffrey Epstein's words.
Y'all know me. Sometimes I just like throwing dirt in their eyes. I don't, but it's disgusting, man.
And
somebody said, you get your facts from CNN. I'm sure that's accurate. Well, I mean, the emails are the emails. They got the exact emails. That's called receipts. I don't give a damn where it came from. I don't care if it came from a MAGA supporter. If they got the actual emails coming from Epstein, then what are we questioning here? They got the paperwork.
Self and take away, obviously, what you will from that.
Oh, yeah. It begs many questions to be asked, perhaps to the president or the White House. You've already.
Trump got y'all MAGA folks brainwashed. All he got to do is say fake news. Well, they got the receipts. It's fake news. It's all a hoax. Well, Trump, your name is right here on these call logs. Fake news. It's a hoax. Well, we got video evidence of you on the island. Fake news. It's a hoax. It's like, what is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you people? I need to know what's wrong with MAGA. What's wrong with you? Oh, man, we got more breaking news, though, man. Like I said, I could not wait. I could not wait to do this stream. Oh, I think Trump responded.
Joining us now, former host of MSN.
Hold on. Oh, man. Trump can't make this go away. Yep, we got for those just joining, we got new emails claiming Trump spent hours at Epstein's house with one of the victims, coming directly from Epstein's emails. Wow.
NBC's hardball, Chris Matthews. Yay, former Ohio.
Nah, Trump ain't said nothing yet. I'm ready. Oh, hold on, let me look. He got to say something. He need to do an emergency press conference. I'm just make sure he says he ain't said nothing yet. Nah, he ain't said nothing yet, but they gonna be talking soon.
Joining us now, former host of MSNBC's
I can't wait.
Chris Matthews. Yay, former Ohio. Here I am. Here you are. Former Ohio State Senator and former national co-chair for Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign, Nina Turner, staff writer for The Atlantic and MSNBC political analyst Ashley Parker, and former Republican congressman from Virginia, Barbara Comstock. All right.
That's a mixed bag.
It is. We tried to make it interesting for your triumphant return to the 2 p.m. hour, 3 p.m. hour of MSNBC. Welcome back, Chris.
Lessons from
Yo, I gotta see. Fox News ain't even gonna cover this, bro. Let me see what Fox News talking about. We gotta see Fox News, man. I want to see how they would spin this one. Oh, man. Fox News. What y'all talking about, Fox?
We are following some breaking news at this hour. I did want to share this social media post from the Democrats saying that oversight Dems have received new emails from Jeffrey Epstein's estate that raise serious questions about Donald Trump and his knowledge of Epstein's horrific crimes. Read them for yourself. It's time to end this cover-up and release the files. This is some file footage of the late Jeffrey Epstein, and I did want to share some more information on this breaking news. Jeffrey Epstein writing in a 2011 email that President Trump had, quote, spent hours at Epstein's house with a victim of...
He said he spent hours. What y'all think Trump was doing in those hours with the alleged victim? And we still going to say allegedly if Trump was there or not, because at the end of the day, Epstein was a monster. He could have been bribing whatever. But I believe him. I believe him. I mean, the man did die under Trump's administration very mysteriously. Yeah.
Sex trafficking, and said in a separate message years later that President Trump knew about the girls, in quote.
I believe that to be factual, too. I believe Trump knew about it. I mean, Trump out of his own mouth said that, I believe Virginia was her name, the one who self-deleted. He said that they stole. I mean, he used these words. They stole. I got to find it where he says that. Where they stole her off the Mar-a-Lago ranch. He said, well, they stole her.
Quotation marks.
He knew.
That's according to communications released today. Now, the emails made public by Democrats on the...
Hold on. Now I'm going to find that video real quick. Hold on real quick. Because people think I'm just making stuff up. We're going to go back to this. It's real quick. I'm not just saying stuff. He said it. Now, who talks like this? And when was he going to admit that she was stolen? Here you go, look.
President Donald Trump is sharing more details on his fallout with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. He spoke to reporters on his way back to the White House from Scotland, explaining Epstein's poaching of staff from Mar-a-Lago. Listen.
people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, gone.
One of those stolen, persons that include Virginia Jeffrey.
In Virginia, she self-deleted not too long ago.
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah.
One of the people.
He stole her.
He stole her? What the hell? Is she a sex slave? He stole her? Stole her. Come on, MAGA. Come on, MAGA. He stole her. So that means he knew that he knew that they were snatching girls up. And she was like 15 working at that spa. Look, this is his own. This is coming from the horse's mouth.
I think so. I think that was.
So now the emails make sense that Trump told them to stop. I'm going to need you to stop stealing girls off my ranch. Like, where's that one girl that was working here? Did you guys steal her?
Was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her.
He stole her. So what are you, a pimp? So you fell out. So you fell out because he took your main girl. He took one of your main workers. He stole her. Now, Donald Pimp Trump, he stole one of my 15-year-olds that worked at my ranch. He stole her. We had a falling out over this.
And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know.
He stole her, but she had no complaints about us.
CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand.
Man, come on now. Let's get back to them emails. Now we know. Now, look, let's put this in context. Let's go.
The House Oversight Committee add to the questions about President Trump's friendship with Epstein and about any knowledge that he may have had in what prosecutors call a years-long effort by Epstein to exploit underage girls. President Trump has consistently denied any knowledge of Epstein's alleged crimes and has said he ended their relationship years ago. This is also a post from the Associated
That's a lie because you knew that he stole a girl off your ranch.
Press saying that emails from Jeffrey Epstein released by Democrats say President Trump, quote, knew about the girls and spent time with a victim. These messages are part of a batch of 23,000 documents provided by Epstein's estate to the Oversight Committee. The release resurfaces a storyline that really has shadowed President Trump's...
Yo, MAGA is pissed in my chat, y'all. MAGA is pissed. Because, you know, what's being rolled out right now, they don't know how to properly deal with this. This is too much for them. They're pissed off because of their great American hero. It's being exposed. I mean, look, I just went to his own words. I mean, I know it's tough. It's tough. I get it. Y'all gonna be all right. Y'all gonna be all right.
Presidency during the summer when the FBI and the Justice Department announced they would not be releasing additional documents that investigators had spent weeks examining. In an April 2nd, 2011 email to Ghislaine Maxwell, an Epstein girlfriend now imprisoned for conspiring to engage in sex trafficking, Epstein wrote, quote, I want you to realize that dog hasn't barked is Trump. Now, there is a redacted name included, and it said that redacted name spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned, police chief, etc. I'm 75% there, end quote. Meanwhile, Maxwell replied that same day, quote, I have been thinking about that. The name in that email who is said to have spent time with President Trump was redacted, but House Democrats have identified that person as a, quote, victim. In a separate 2019.
Yo, you know, Fox News, they don't know what to say. They're not trying to spin no narrative. They just going right down the middle because it's like, how do you really defend this? You know? I mean, you know, you still live in a bipartisan country, and the House Oversight Committee it's a legal representation. They have all the rights in the world to release their information. It's really nothing you can say. You know, Fox News can't really spin any narratives at this point. It's just like, look, let's just cover the news and keep it moving. You know? Trump in the White House is going to have to address this.
Email to journalist Michael Wolff, who has written extensively about this. Epstein wrote of President Trump, quote, "Of course he knew about the girls," as he asked Ghislaine to stop, end quote. White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt has accused the Democrats of having selectively leaked emails to create a fake narrative to smear President Trump, saying in a statement that the unnamed person referenced in the emails is one of the accusers who had also accused Britain's Prince Andrew and other influential men of sexually exploiting her as a teenager and who died by suicide in April.
So they're trying to claim that the Democrats are spinning a narrative and they're not talking about Trump. When that really doesn't make any sense, because clearly the person they're discussing is some type of elected official. But I don't know. Look, that's why everything is alleged. Everything's alleged. But that's what they're trying to claim here. Let's go back to that. Hear what they're saying.
Exploiting her as a teenager and who died by suicide. Accusers who had also accused Britain's Prince Andrew and other influential men of
So they're trying to claim it's Prince Andrew or somebody. What y'all think about that? Hey, we got to weigh all odds in this. When this news breaks, hey, we got to weigh all odds.
Sexually exploiting her as a teenager and who died by suicide in April. Andrew had rejected those allegations and said that he did not recall meeting her. So he did want to share this information as the House Democrats on the Oversight Committee have presented and made public emails regarding Jeffrey Epstein, writing about President Trump and alleging that he had spent hours at Epstein's house with a victim of sex trafficking.
So they are saying it's Trump. What y'all think? What say y'all? Oh, snap. Hold on. What say y'all? Is this some Democratic conspiracy to get Trump impeached or demonize his character? What say y'all? Is this, or is it just clean cut? Somebody said there's thousands of people on that list. I agree. Let me see. Somebody says, your mods are soft. The hell you talking about? Don't talk about my mods. All right. So anyway, I just wanted to come through with this particular broadcast. Look, everything ain't what it seems out in the media, y'all. Everything ain't what it seems. I tell you, these millionaires and billionaires, they playing some dangerous games. Richard said it's a nothing burger. I don't think so. I think the White House going to have to respond to that. Nonetheless, I mean, is it going to get Trump out of office? Probably not. Will this lower his approval rate even more? Probably. Will that matter? Probably not. Are we still tiptoeing on tyranny in the country? Sure we are. So, it's just good to see these things escalate because we want to see the victims get some justice. Ultimately, that's what it's all about, is the victims getting justice. That's it. That's all it's about. And according to the data and statistics, I think it was 58% of Americans feel like that the system didn't do enough to release the Epstein files. It just is what it is. Over half of Americans want the files released. Just to put it into it. Yeah, it's not about, for me on this side, it's not about Democrat or Republican. It ain't about left or right. It's just about right and wrong. And I'm not a fan of any of these individuals. Like I said, I'm anti-establishment. And at the end of the day, I just want to see all this darkness be brought to the light. But nonetheless, we got more material coming. Y'all, if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Turn your post notification bell on so you can get these videos as they being uploaded. Y'all be blessed out there. More material coming. With that being said, shalom and peace.